I'm Judi Wright with the Judi Wright team at Ebby Halliday, and today we have Darrell Tinglov with Professional Property Inspections with us.
Good morning, Judy. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Darrell. Thanks for coming. We're excited to have you come and share your experience and your knowledge with us. I know you do so many inspections around the area. Tell me maybe what the top most important things, let's start talking about for sellers maybe.
Well, I would say, getting a house prepared for an inspection or even prepared to sell it. The top three things that are the most, the things that are going to cost the seller the most to repair are obviously roof. With the number of hailstorms that we have in North Texas, I would say, getting the house prepared would, get a roofer to come out and take a look at the roof. Most roofs, the caulking that they use on sealing up fasteners, at best is a 5-year caulk. So every 5 years, a roofer needs to get up on the roof and take a look and just do maintenance. And in addition to that, look for hail.
Right.
And secondly, the next cost, the thing that costs the most would be foundation issues. And there's, a house when it starts to shift, there's multiple indicators that show a house shifting. So the one that's common is the diagonal cracks that show up above doors and windows and doors being out of square.
Right. And
exterior cracks in the brick and where brick meets windows, having vertical separation there. So those are easy things a homeowner or a realtor can walk around the house and look for it and address those issues before you put it on the market. And the third is air conditioning.
The big one.
The big one, yeah. The R22 has been around for a long time. That refrigerant has been phased out, and now when an AC is like 12 years old, it's not, most of the time it's not cost effective to repair it. You end up having to replace it. So we're kind of in that weird situation where air conditioners can be a big issue on an inspection.
Yeah, those are the big ones for sure. What about for buyers? Because we get a lot of buyers that come in, they're buying 25-year-old homes, and they come in and they get really hung up sometimes on little things. And there are, when you have an older home, there are always going to be little things that maybe were code compliant when the home was built, but maybe aren't anymore. What are the big things that they should be looking out for?
Well, it goes back to the top three things, the things that are going to cost the most when you actually end up in a house. So going back to roof, foundation, air conditioning, when you get into a house and you're not expecting those things to go out, those numbers can go quickly up. Water heaters, $1,500. If you got more than one, times that. You've got air conditionings that go out, that's $6,000 to $7,000. So you end up, when you're buying an old home, you just have to know on the front end, hey, how old are these things, and what the life expectancy is, and what you're about to get hit with as you become the homeowner.
That's nice to know, because I know sellers sometimes get freaked out when they see that 132-page report or 62-page report,
right.
Whatever it is, they get freaked out by that, and they don't always realize that it's a negotiation. And I mean, one of the pieces of advice we always give buyers is, remember, you're not buying a brand new home, but obviously they're, like you said, roof, foundation, air conditioning, you expect those to work, and they need to work for a buyer. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of there's a lot of deferred maintenance out there. Some homeowners get in the house, they get busy, and they get complacent, and they ultimately defer maintenance. And as we go through an inspection, it becomes very obvious that the house wasn't maintained properly, and most of the time those inspection reports,
they're the long ones.
They're the long ones, and then you start adding up the dollar costs, and it's a significant number. It seems like insignificant, but when you add it all up collectively, it becomes a significant number.
Yeah, those are the ones that scare buyers for sure. Well, we always love having you around with all your knowledge, because you've been doing this how many years?
24 years.
24 years.
Yeah, I was an aircraft mechanic before getting into home inspections. I figured if I could put an airplane in the sky, I could inspect something that stayed on the ground.
That's awesome. Well, I want to find out in here if you have any fun or crazy stories of things that you've seen or that have happened when you're inspecting a home.
Oh yeah. I'm not real superstitious. To me, it's proof is in the pudding. And I got called out to do an inspection where the homeowner committed suicide, and it was recent. And anyway, I went into a bathroom, walked into a closet, and was headed back towards a cedar closet, and the door violently slammed behind me. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I'm like,
that's happening to me right now.
What just happened? And then I tried to recreate it. I couldn't recreate it. I actually left that room and waited till one of my other inspectors showed up, so I went back in there to inspect it afterwards. And that's when we were trying to recreate. And maybe it was a draft, but the door it violently slammed.
They were like,
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that was definitely the scariest. And then it makes you think as you go into vacant houses that, what's the story behind the house, what's going on. And yeah, that's one of the interesting parts of the job.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I once went into a vacant home in Dallas, and there was a homeless person hidden in the closet. And when I opened the closet door, he ran out screaming. So, I almost peed my pants. I'm not sure if he did. It scared me to death. So I completely understand.
I had one where the house was supposed to be vacant, and there was a dog that met me at the front door. And, I yelled out, "Home inspector," and 2 seconds later, I hear a guy in the back say, "I'm naked." I'm like, "Well, put some clothes on, please."
Oh, that's awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to add for buyers and sellers out there who are watching this today? Anything last minute advice or anything you want to add?
Yeah, like I said, for sellers, get your house prepared. Have the roof inspected before you put it on the market. The best caulking that's used on a roof is a 5-year caulk. So every 5 years, you should have a roofer get up on the roof and seal fasteners, look for hail, exposure. Your air conditioners should be serviced twice a year. With the R22 being phased out, that could be a significant number for both buyer and seller. And then foundations, if the foundation's moving, the house is built as a system. So as the house starts to shift, there's a lot of indicators that show up. The one that's most common is the stress crack that shows up diagonally above doors and windows, or your door is not latching or it's sticking where a couple months ago it was working fine. Those are indicators the foundation's starting to shift differentially. So getting a house prepared before you put it on the market so that you're not hit with surprises when a guy like me comes out and inspects a house for a buyer. And then the buyers just get prepared for, I know when you go out and you look at the house and you find this beautiful house, it's your dream house, and then we come in and hit you with all kinds of issues. Just be prepared, like Judi said, you're not buying a new house. If you're buying an older one, just be prepared. There's going to be issues there, but it's things that we can work through. Most of the time, it's a workable issue.
And I want to add one other thing for buyers too. First of all, always have an inspection, and don't think because you're buying a brand new home that you don't need an inspection, because we've worked together on some brand new homes. And I remember one, I don't know if you remember the one in Newman Village, that was a Darling built spec home, and it had been sold and the people had backed out, and my buyers came in and bought it, and I talked them into doing an inspection.
Chimney flue was disconnected?
The chimney flue was disconnected.
Absolutely. And
if they would have lit the fireplace, it would have gone up in smoke.
Yeah,
So always have a home inspection.
That's one of the things I say. You want to inspect the house because it's new, because no one's gone through and used things. I mean, there's a multitude of things that can be wrong.
Yeah, and if you don't find them when you buy the property, when you go to sell it, those buyers are going to find it.
Generally, when I go and inspect a house that's 4 or 5 years old and it didn't get inspected from day one, then the seller's hit with the repairs.
Right.
And it's significantly more than the home inspection cost.
So we'll end this with always have an inspection, whether you're buying a new or pre-owned home, and make sure you hire a professional inspector like Darrell.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Judi.
Thanks, Darrell.